There's a cry calling from a faint, faint voice. The voice of one who has been cast down. Calling for you to raise your voice. Speak what you cannot say, 'cause his voice is gone. But I see a generation that hears his voice. Yes, we rise up and we speak up. A people that surely know who we are and what's our own. Yes, we know. I am Nigeria, you are Nigeria. We own this land, oh, and we'll make it better. You are Nigeria, we are Nigeria. We own this land, oh, and we'll make it better, better. There's a pain every one of us can feel, but there's a sound rising from deep within. A melody everyone must sing, rhythm we all must play. Its time has come. A time to realize we are all we've got and come together with one voice. A voice that will resound in every heart and give hope to all, to all. I am Nigeria. Yes, I am. Yes, you are. We own this land, and we'll make it better. You are Nigeria. We are, that's who we are. Yeah. We own it. Yes, I am. Yes, you are. I am Nigeria. We own this land. And we'll make it. You are Nigeria. We are, that's who we are. Hey. And we'll make it better. Sorrow socket, make your voice heard. Sorrow socket, sing it out louder. Sorrow socket, don't be afraid. Sorrow socket, be bold in your spirit. Sorrow socket, open your mouth. Sorrow socket, speak out for your children. Sorrow socket, don't keep it in you. Sorrow socket, we need to go on. Yes, I am. Yes, you are. We own this land, and we have no other choice but to make it better. You are Nigeria. We are Nigeria. We own this land, and we'll make it better. We own this land, and we'll make it better. Tell somebody we are Nigeria. It's our responsibility to make it better, better.
Good morning. And if you notice in the chat, someone just called me Casey. When someone calls me Casey, that means they've known me for over 30 years. That's Peter Adigwe. Thank you for joining early. And Peter runs Hives Consulting, ERP consulting for small businesses, and he's part of the Strategy Club. This morning, we're going to have an exciting time. We're going to have an exciting time, and I'm just going to share my screen once again, remove the sound, and start on this morning's presentation, if you like. We took this picture last night, and that's my 4-year-old daughter, and we had received a bunch of books, the books that I've been making a lot of noise about over the past few days. We received a few copies yesterday. It was an answer to prayer. The first estimated delivery time was, I think, 20th, the 9th, then 6th, my birthday, and I was just praying that it would arrive before this broadcast end. You probably already know I've written 5 books or 5 or 6 books, and I've promised to give some away to those who've been supporting the NGO founders that we've focused on this period. I've been having a 5-day daily life broadcast interviewing NGOs. This morning, I'm going to summarize some of the things they said to us. I'm also going to do an unboxing. Incidentally, the Ghana Customs Service already opened the box. They were trying to check what is inside. And I'm hoping that in the future, there will be more efficient ways to do those checks. More importantly for today, I'm also going to talk about nagging questions from my faith. If you've followed me for a while, you realize I do not make too much of an attempt to distinguish my faith from the rest of my life. Even though I am not fanatical about it, I talk about it as something that is a natural part of my life. And I hope you will be able to stay tuned and listen. So, wow, I see Olawale Ayuba in the chats. Olawale Ayuba taught me everything I know, almost everything I know about Remedy in Airtel, Nigeria. It's great to see you, sir. I also see ever faithful, ever sure, Noureddine Latte Wahab, whom we interviewed on Thursday. We're going to have an exciting time this morning. So stay tuned, stay there, and tag someone, and stay active, stay connected, and we shall see you in just a minute or thereabout. All right, so here's the box, and the customs service said they opened and resealed it. I'm grateful to them for resealing, and I'm hoping that nothing is missing from the box. I'm just going to cut it open and see what's inside. I've been very, very apprehensive or anxious to see what's actually inside, because one of these books was written just this year, and I have not seen what it looks like in terms of the hard copy, but I'm now going to see that, right? So I had to resist the temptation to open it yesterday and wait for you to be there. So I hope you're as excited as I am. Please express your excitement in the chat. Let others be excited with you. Share the excitement as I open up these boxes this morning. Right, so this is what it looks like. I hope you like the box. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of paper. Yeah, paper there. Amazon receipts. More paper. Okay, take out all the paper. Yep, good. So let's bring them out. Wow, this is not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah, this is cool, right? See how thick it is? This is what 251 pages. Wow, this is awesome. So if you want this, just make a donation to our NGOs, and we will be able to send you one if you're in Nigeria, Ghana. This is good. Career growth strategies in information technology. I really like this. This is solid. This is solid printing. And that's why I chose Amazon, really. Solid printing. And then I have Entangled. I've seen this before, right? But this is cool. So if you've not seen this before, this is it. Yeah, this is cool. Cool as well, as usual. And awesome printing, right? And then another copy of Career Growth here. Then a copy of Till Death. I only got one copy of Till Death. Solid work. I just couldn't get this quality locally. Maybe if you know some book. Thank you, Peter. If you know some book printers who can do this kind of work, excellence, please let me know. And then this is another powerful one. This is one of my most powerful books. You should get this. If I were to live again, I wrote it when I crossed 40. So you should really get this. It's awesome. Yeah. Awesome as well. So great printing. If you look at what's inside, it's just superior quality. And then another copy of this. So I'm just going to put this aside. I'm going to today's conversation. Yes, the other day I showed you the first one. Olawale Ayuba was present during the launch of this book in 2011. So that's how far back this goes. I'm sure he will remember at the National Theatre. We took up a small hall there at the National Theatre. My first book launch, about 111 people attended, and I'm very grateful to people from my workplace then, Airtel Nigeria, people from my church then, that was Presbyterian Church. I hope some of them are watching us. I did share the link. People from friends from FECA, FECA Nigeria, powerful relationships. And yesterday, we talked about the fact that the kind of wealth we may want to build on the earth is powerful relationships. And I just told you that Peter called me Casey. If he called me Casey, that means you've known me since secondary school. And those relationships are a kind of wealth. And we talked yesterday that Prosper is building that kind of wealth over time. And I'm not talking about high maintenance relationships. You must call me every day. You must be at my party elsewhere, all the time. It's here. Olawale is acknowledging that he was there in 2011. I'm not talking about all. I'm talking about every time we have the opportunity to connect, there is mutual exchange of value. That's what relationships are. Yes, Peter also remembers. Yes, because I believe he was also there. It was a powerful one. That I was much slimmer then. I have a few photos. Maybe I'll pick it up if I can quickly bring them up as well. So I'm just going to go into today's conversation a bit. I'll start with the conversations about my faith. So I've recognized those who are live. I want to encourage you, if you're doing something awesome do use the comments to sell yourself. No one, we said it yesterday, no one can blow your trumpet better than you do. So every opportunity you get, and I'm giving you the opportunity in case you are doubting yourself, in case you are wondering, should I do this on Kenneth's chat? That is the point of Unity Africa, to promote emerging entrepreneurs. So all the hullabaloo, all the drama we're doing here is about giving visibility to those who are doing something powerful silently. So do feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself properly and say what you do. Someone might be watching. Someone might be watching. So let's listen to this. I sometimes wonder why something as critical as the salvation of our souls should be the subject of heated debate over centuries, thousands of years. Shouldn't God's revelation of himself be as clear as day? Shouldn't the right choice of faith, of God's agent be as clear, so clear that if there is a judgment on that choice, it will be utterly justified. The conclusion of your judgment or our judgment will be utterly justified if there is absolute clarity on what the right choice is. And someone made an allusion to this in a LinkedIn post. He said that, why are we arrogant enough to say that out of about 4,000 religions, I must become a Christian, in quote, in order to go to heaven or escape hell and all that? And it's something that we can relate with, even though we know that certain shades of reality are not as subject to that kind of logic as we may want to believe. So that's another topic which I might deal with tomorrow when I talk about the occult. Now, question: when we die, will we go to heaven? Will we go to hell, or come back through various cycles until we reach perfection? Many of us are enthusiastic about sharing near-death experiences that validates our own perception of reality, of faith. Yes, Peter, that was Akko's track. Yeah, thank you. And many of us want to share things that validate our own shade of reality, but the truth is, um, if you Google near-death experiences on YouTube, for example, you will hear people who say they saw the light, people who say they didn't see God, they saw a universe, they felt peace, some saw heaven and hell, and so on and so forth. The accounts are a plethora of accounts. But the question is, should we even trust those experiences? Are they the subject of our subconscious beliefs, or are they valid, real, expressions of a reality beyond death? So questions like that emerge. I want to know, when we begin to answer questions like this that bother the minds of people, we want these questions to be answered about a book. And then we are quoting. My daughter is asking me for scissors, by all means. Mommy, my apologies. We are um, we are quoting from a book to answer questions about that book. That's what we typically do as Christians, and the same other religions will quote from their book to answer questions about their book. So, is it possible to prove the accuracy, the authenticity of a book without quoting the book from outside sources? And this is the challenge we typically have in answering the questions. But you see, there are some things that are shared among all of us. Some things are shared, and I will mention birth. Birth is shared. It's a shared experience. We're all born into this world. We see the world as we see it where we are born, and we begin to experience it where we are born. We all experience death. Come on. Yeah. And when people die, I mean, everybody is sad. Everybody feels the pain of the exit, right? There's one more thing that is shared, which is what we call sin. The first two are obvious, but but the third one is the clear basis for most of our laws in every country, in every culture, right? In every culture, there's the sense, the understanding, the perception of wrongdoing, right? And these days, people, argue whether that perception should be subjective or objective, whether it's a judgment I make for myself, what is there varying truths, my truth, your truth, and all that. But generally, we have an idea that there is something about us that wants things done right. There's something about us that wants to wants to make sure people are not doing what we perceive as the wrong thing. Sometimes they are described in our laws. Sometimes they are nudged in our consciences and all that. So in asking these questions about faith, or about that confuse us, that confound us, we ask ourselves, is the problem really an intellectual grasp of things? Or the problem we're trying to solve is really the redemption of our corrupt souls? Because sin, like we said, is a shared experience. Now, I don't want to be overcome by hubris to assume that we can easily answer these questions that much smarter people have contemplated for millennia. Will be like stretching the limits of our arrogance. We can't answer those questions flippantly. We can't answer them and just say the Bible says, we can't answer them just carelessly. There has to be some systematic thinking and convincing that sometimes goes beyond our own capacity to articulate these matters. Now, but at the same time, I believe that every form of inquiry, every inquiry into these matters is a form of worship. Because what we're doing is stretching our minds and exploring things that are unsearchable in our reality. We're exploring things that are within the context of an eternal being, things that are eternal. So it's more or less even a kind of submission, a kind of, bowing down, so to speak, to say, I want to understand what this is all about. But there's a balance there. There's, on the one hand, a genuine search for truth. There's another perspective, which is an attempt to dismiss these phenomena, with questions that are not easily answerable. There is also an attempt to justify ourselves, because remember, the common or shared realities: birth, death, sin, which we don't have an explanation for. Now, some of these phenomena go beyond the boundaries of our own reality, and we must embrace that understanding them are outside the boundaries of known systems of experience of reality, our thinking, our feeling, our touching, our five senses, etc. Now, let's explore this a bit further. Think about the vastness of the universe. The entity that I circled in yellow there is not as big as that. It's just the yellow circle that makes it look a bit bigger. That is where we live, right? And it's part of a system called the solar system. And this solar system is part of the Milky Way galaxy, populated by over 100 billion stars, if I got my facts right. 100 billion stars. What we call the sun, which you will see right there, as this is a model that is basically scaled. What we call the sun is a medium-sized yellow dwarf star. It's a small star compared to others, and there are 100 billion of those in our Milky Way galaxy, according to what has been discovered, right? And the universe, as we know it, is a constantly expanding mass, a collection of 2 trillion galaxies plus. Now, remember I said our solar system is we are on Earth, right? The Earth is part of a solar system of 9 or 8 planets, depending on when you went to school, right? And this solar system is part of a galaxy called the Milky Way that has 200 billion galaxies, 100 billion stars, which they have their own system. They likely have their own systems, so to speak. And our Milky Way galaxy is part of a collection of 2 trillion galaxies. Why in the world do we think that our opinion of what reality is actually matters? Why do we sit on Earth and assume that our brains are sophisticated enough to articulate the complexity of what we call reality? Why do we think our instruments are so powerful that they can capture, right, in any degree of completeness, what the universe is, what reality is? So, if anything, our quest to discover it should be more to discover rather than to attempt to dictate or define or describe or explain, right? And our instruments on inquiry are trivial, as a matter of fact, relative to what we have seen or what is really out there. In other words, we have counted 2 trillion galaxies, but that may not be the full extent of reality. So our discoveries must humble us. Our discoveries must humble us. They must teach us that there are definitely things we may never know. There are some things that simply have to be revealed. There are things that simply have to be what? Revealed and accepted. It is way bigger than any of us can capture. And I will always have questions about my faith, and I'm sure you will too. Sometimes we dismiss them. We focus on what is the next meal to eat. We focus on how can I make my business work. But when it comes to the questions about my faith, I try to listen to people who have studied these matters at a much deeper level than myself, and these are some of them. If you want to find out more about them, you can do so. Those in black and white have passed on. So you see, mind you, even these ones that I listen to, they don't always agree with each other, but the fundamentals are compelling. And the more I listen, the more it becomes obvious that the main objective is not really grasping eternal truth with our finite minds, but the fact remains that searching itself is a form of worship. So, what I would like you to take away is don't discard the baby with the bathwater. Find these men, explore, listen, search, think, question. It's too important for us to be flippant. These matters are too important for us to dismiss them and just carry on with our temporary life on a very tiny planet that is part of a Milky Way of 200 billion stars, part of a galaxy of 2 trillion galaxies. So the matters at stake are too complex, too profound for us to just dismiss and carry on with our lives. That is why we have to think about this matter. So I'm going to pause there, and I'll probably take a few. Maybe there's some feedback in the chat. Let me just check that. No feedback on this, but I'm happy for you to drop something in the chat. What you think, because this is a very small reflection on my part before I go into what we've done over the past 3 days. And like we said on day one, birthdays are a good time to reflect upon our time on earth. They are also a good time to reflect upon our faith, our beliefs, our pursuits, our purpose. And that is why I'm doing this as part of this journey. So I'm going to go into a recap of what we did over the past 3 days, interviewing entrepreneurs, and I hope you're happy to hear that. I'm just so excited to see these books. In case you're just joining, 5 of the books, and we said that we are giving away these books to those who can support our NGOs, and I'm going to put a link in the chat right now to ask you to take a look at it, make a donation to them while I essentially tell you what we did, in case you didn't see them, because each of those interviews was like 1.5 hours long, right? So it's likely that you may not have seen the whole thing. So I'm going to do a recap today before I close out. Now, as a backdrop, I decided that on my 46th year on earth, it just dropped in me that I should focus attention of Unity Africa, a platform for emerging entrepreneurs, on 5 NGO founders. These are not the only NGO founders in the world, but one must focus effort. That's what we teach in strategy. We must focus our effort on a finite set of things that we can actually influence. And Richard Rumelt said it as well, that we need to find where will my effort be best, the most effective. And I like the fact that he used the David and Goliath analogy. You should read his book, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, Richard Rumelt. So these are the 5 that I chose, 2 of them from Nigeria and 3 of them from Ghana. They have been working in this space between 5 to 10 years, and I'll just give a brief of what I said about them on day 1. I met Prosper Afechi through International Central Gospel Church. He caught my attention through his resilience and passion for young people. He's been doing what he's doing for 10 years. This year is his 10th anniversary. I'll talk more about him a few minutes into the call. I also met Heather Beam through ICGC Children's Ministry, and I was struck by the fact that she left the US as a PhD from MIT to come to Takoradi to begin some work here in using locally sourced materials to teach STEM. So we'll talk more about that. Yetunde is another very dogged development enthusiast. She's led My Dream Connect for 10 years. in various shapes, right? They just got registered last year. I met her for the first time when I visited Lagos for the Africa SME Assembly organized Treasure in Naya Day with Ted. So you should check out that too. And she was speaking for a smaller event. Then we got talking and I began to know what she was doing. And Ifome and I go back to the days of something called Marital Bliss, organized by Papa D Adeolu Gunubi, right? It was on BlackBerry. So that tells you how long ago it was. Um, she went through a period of pain that unearthed her purpose and which she pursues now with a lot of passion. I'll talk about that later. Noureddine is definitely not the least. We got to know each other through eProcess International, and I do believe, technically speaking, eProcess International had the most profound effect on me, in my career, and that's where I met Noureddine. And today he's in memory of his mother and his auntie, having a foundation that reaches out to young people. All right, I'm pausing there to just recognize the chats. Olawale Alyuba says, I like the fact that creativity and innovation are more divine than just the intuition and hard work. Thank you for that. Deep thinking from a deep person. And Peter says, impressive insight, Casey. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Heather. And remember, the reason I'm talking about these people is because they are doing something incredible, fulfilling their purpose on the earth, and I want you to support them. Support may come in the form of monetary support. It may come in the form of expertise. You want to volunteer. You want to connect them with something, some opportunity, your organization, and so forth. So that's why I'm talking about them, and that's why we had these interviews with them. All the interviews are on our channel on YouTube, Unity Africa, and on our LinkedIn page, Kabila Community. So you can watch them if you make time to sit with that 1.5 hours, and you will hear them speak about these things themselves. Now, Heather completed her PhD. She gave the details in the interview, and decided began to get offers. She began to get offers, but she chose to come to Ghana to start with Takoradi to do something interesting. And she has brought a lot of innovation to the world of STEM in Africa through the use of locally sourced materials, something as simple as plastic bottles. In fact, they have developed a manual for implementing the Ghana Education Service curriculum using locally sourced materials. And she's all over the place, changing the lives of teachers across Ghana. You watch some of the videos where a lot of teachers have a sense of fulfillment, a sense that we now have what we need to really get these children to understand what we are saying when we're talking about math, physics, chemistry, and so forth. And Heather, in the interview, told the story of Isifu, who hated mathematics until a teacher came along who could use the right techniques. So this is life-changing. This is society-changing. This is dramatic in terms of its impact. I know many of you watching me, your children go to amazing private schools, but there are those out there, and we talked about this on day one, that your children are not only the ones you are raising in your house. Some of them are out there. They need your influence to get a better experience of education with the work of the likes of Heather. So this is a little bit about what the Practical Education Network does. You can visit the website on practicaleducationnetwork.com, right? And get to know a little bit more about what they do. Now, Enifome is the founder of Live Again Foundation, and I know that Olawale will also know Enifome from a long time ago. Enifome went through domestic abuse, right? She went through domestic abuse even as a high-flying executive. So she told the story that in those days, she would go into her office, cry, clean her face, do makeup, and then come out of the office and begin to give instructions. Yes, let's do this. We can do that. So a lot of women are like that, hiding their pain behind their corporate, or a lot of people are like that, hiding their pain behind the corporate look we see on LinkedIn, the corporate look we see out there, until something happens that exposes the rot and we hear this sad stories, sadly. Sometimes it never comes out until it becomes chaotic. But she did come out, right? When she came out as her part of her healing, and she said this, that people who haven't really healed are unable to talk about their pain. She talked to us about pain, purpose, and passion. And she launched the Live Again Foundation, right, in a response to God's call. And she's been doing a lot, going from city to city, having these events, coaching women for free, having the Live Again shelter, giving women who have to leave where they are being abused. They have to leave that place, giving them a place to stay. She collaborates even with the government of Lagos to do this for women, and there's need out there. That is why she has a lot of work to do, and she needs a lot of backing. The Live Again Foundation, you can find them on liveagain.com.ng, liveagain.com.ng. That's where she's doing a lot of her work, and I would like you to back her with your support. This is Noureddine. Noureddine, we interviewed him on Thursday, right? So you can go back and watch the details of that. He is the founder of Theresa Naomi Memorial Foundation, right? Theresa and Naomi are two sisters. Theresa is, Noureddine's mother. They died maybe 1 or 2 weeks apart. And in memory of them, he launched the Theresa Naomi Memorial Foundation. Every year, he visits schools, distributes books, touches the lives of young people, coaches young people, teenagers mostly, tries to sponsor them or contribute to their sponsorship tuition through school. And this year, he went even beyond. He distributed more exercise books. I had one of those yesterday. More exercise books than ever before. And he also launched the library at Wokwe. It's a community in Ghana where the way he described it is that when you get to, as you're taking the road, the highway, when you get to a point where you no longer have a phone signal, right? Then you know you have gotten there. That means that people have to take a trip to take a call. So people who live in that community have to take a trip to take a call. If they need to get a call or respond to a message, they need to maybe take a trip of maybe an hour to come to somewhere where they can get a signal. But he was able to go there, build a library for them. We showed the video of the library during the interview on Thursday, and he's fitted it with computers. And amazingly, listen to this, he built, because he has an IT background, he built an LLM that is based on Google's model. That an LLM is a large language model, is the fundamental elements of generative AI that we all know: ChatGPT, Google, Gemini, Copilot, and so forth. He built one and localized it. Why did he do that? Because there's no internet access, so they can't Google anything. If they want to find out what is photosynthesis, the engine will basically, the network is local, so it basically queries the LLM and returns to the answers to them. So they don't have internet. They don't have any access to internet, but he's been able to solve that problem with the localized LLM. I'm sure he will need to update it every now and then. He also launched the Girl Power Initiative, the Naomi Girl Power Initiative. And the encounter that drove that launch was that he met a girl who was having menstrual cramps every month. And both her mother and her grandmother told her that it was spiritual. So they kept doing all sorts of stuff in order to address menstrual cramps. So he wants to launch this initiative to educate people on female hygiene, the issues having to do with female hygiene, and even provide sanitary pads for them. And he asked us, if you have sanitary pads, you have cash, if you have computers, you're not using devices, you can send in. They are very welcome in order to push forward the work that he's doing. Excuse me. All right, so this is Noureddine, and you can find his website on theresanaomi.foundation. Please check out what he is doing. Yetunde is another powerhouse operating in Lagos, right? We interviewed Yetunde and Prosper yesterday. She runs My Dream Connect. She started it as an ISR, individual social responsibility, I believe. And today she's running boot camps every quarter. Sometimes I think week long or 21-day long boot camps with 40, 50 attendees who are learning soft skills, learning tech, because that's her background. She went to, she's done a lot of tech right from the days of Corel Draw and desktop publishing and all that. And she's helping them understand the tech part and the soft skills part. And this year she's doing the hackathon in November, and we show that invite in the interview. She also, by the side, goes to remote villages to find needs of children who need something as simple as packs of exercise books, similar to what Noureddine does. She does that quite a lot. So connect with her on LinkedIn, find out how she's doing, what she's doing, and then stretch yourself to support that. You can find the website on mydreamconnect.org.ng, mydreamconnect.org.ng. Last but not the least, Prosper Dan Afechi. Profound. Prosper lost his parents at a young age, and he struggled through school, right? So Forget, the foundation for generational thinkers, was born from that background. And he keeps thinking long term. He's impacting young people, mentoring them, coaching them, exposing them to books, having events for them. He told us about the fact that they are going to have some off-site event pretty soon, which will cost them about 17,000 Ghana cedis. That is, 70,000 Ghana cedis. That's about $7,000. Yeah, close to 7,000 or a little bit above $7,000. And I said that we can raise 10,000 for him by giving $1 a piece, $1 a person. $1 a person, 10,000 persons. $1 is 20. Is 12 cedis. $1 is about 1,700 naira. Prosper has reached over 15 schools in person. But when he was doing those in-person events, he discovered that we need to build a community of close-knit people who will go the journey with us and really transform. He's been reaching 1,000 students every event. And today I asked him, in 15 years, what do you think will happen? Some of these people have grown to be 30 years old, 32 years old, and that is your wealth. That is the wealth you have accumulated, essentially. Now, we talked about the fact that you can visit on them on forget.org. We talked about, while we were talking about them, we talked about what kind of wealth are we building. And we talked about Deribe, Alaji May Deribe, whose cars we saw over the internet a few weeks ago. His cars are decaying because that is the natural cause of the universe, entropy. The house is decaying, nobody's living in them. Because the real wealth that we can build is the people we are able to impact when we are in this world, because we all know common experience, birth, death, is all transient, right? So the real wealth we build is how much we are able to invest. And some of us can't do it. We can't go to remote villages like Wokwe. We can't set up an NGO like that, but maybe we can help to make it happen for them. And what I have decided to do is to give you these books as a reward for donating to them. All you're going to pay is the delivery fees, and it makes it easier for us to confine it to a few geographies, right? So we have put all that in the announcements, right? We have put all that in the announcements in this chat. You can actually go make a donation, fill up a form. And I want to appreciate, I think I see, yes, I've seen a donation here just now. Just make that happen for them. And another thing you can make happen for them is simply share the link, call attention to someone, tag someone on this process. All developments, growth, and wars is inside a dot. That will remain a dot. I like that, Peter, and I think Peter is referring to this dot, the dot we call Earth, right? This dot we call Earth, and that is a very profound statement. This dot that we call Earth, right here, this one, right? That's that dot. Everything we're fighting for, all the land grabbing, right? All the oil blocks, all the the cars, the planes, whether if I first class or second class or third class, all the my career is the most advancing career or otherwise, all of it is within this dot that he is talking about. This dot is an insignificant piece in the context of the universe. That's the point, and we must be humble enough to embrace that. So thank you for sharing that, Peter. It's just a dot. So that is the call today. The call is we need you to support them. And if you've not watched the videos, I'm gonna put in the chat the playlist. We put it together very nicely in a playlist so that it makes it easy for you to buy them, to watch them. I said buy them. I'm selling too much. It makes it easy for you to watch them and really form your opinions. And you don't have to support all of them. Just find one that resonates well with you. Our job here is to give them that visibility. Find those that resonate with you, and essentially, connect with them and find a way to support them. So this is the playlist. If you've not subscribed to Unity Africa, please do. And this is a playlist. We are compiling that playlist of 5 videos. That is my contribution to them this period of my birthday, 6th of. And please, I will not be available for birthday wishes on Monday. In reality, I will not be. So whatever wish you can wish me right now in the chat to send this to someone. You can wish me by giving these my friends something to carry on their work. That's the wish I want to receive right now. I'm not available for wishes on Monday. This program will finish tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk about demonic powers, and we're also going to kind of like do a recap of some of the thoughts we shared from our books tomorrow, 5 p.m. tomorrow, after church. So I want you to be there as well. Share it with someone. We're going to post the invite after now. So this is it. I'm going to close out. This is a short one, but I hope it was impactful. And my greatest hope is that this effort will actually support the work of these amazing individuals who are doing awesome things in Ghana, in Nigeria. And I want to say thank you very much for spending your Saturday morning with me, with the unboxing, with the reflective thoughts on questions about my faith, and with a recap of what we heard these amazing individuals say in the last 3 days. I will see you again tomorrow evening by 5 GMT, 6 Nigerian time, 8 p.m. Kenya time. Have a great Saturday.